Hello and welcome to week one of the Overwatch NECC season brought to you by TEC. We've got an exciting best of five here for you for Waynesburg University taking on Arcadia University tonight. But before we get into all of that action, I've got to introduce the legend to my digital right. Cherry J, how are we feeling tonight, my friend?
I gotta tell you, I'm feeling great. A legendary matchup between Pennsylvania East versus West, and I'm super looking forward to what these two teams have in store for us. I believe if we've been told correctly, we're gonna be heading on to that Lijiang Tower for map 1. And Hot Sauce, let me tell you, that's a fun one. It's got a lot of basic components. You see a lot of teams looking to run, and I just kind of want to see them scrap it out with that brawl that you really do tend to see very favored by teams, especially at the collegiate level.
At the night market, the garden, the control center, plenty of little sub maps to dance around here on Lijiang. And as you mentioned, I mean, this has been around forever. I think this is a common favorite for a lot of schools, a lot of different teams. So, like you, I'll be looking to see what type of competitions we're running. In the past, Waynesburg has kind of a composition that they stick to. I mean, we see a lot of that Orisa or Malga coming out at times from Blue Hound. I know Jordan rocks the Reaper a ton. I think maybe sprinkles in a little bit of that Genji as well. So I expect him to kind of be running those similar comps. A lot of these players play on the Valorant squad together as well. A couple even on the Rocket League team. So that team synergy seems to have been there now for a little while. I know, like I said, they won their division last season as well.
Exactly. And from the other side, Arcadia, they got that talent for sure. You got a lot of players who are looking to run that meta composition, that Kiri Lucio, something we see time and time again at the high level, and just in general, it's something that you really do tend to opt into as a support player, which I'm going to be really looking forward to seeing. And then from the rest of the team, it's teams that this team is a team that you really look forward to seeing when it comes down to how they're going to be able to adapt, because both of these rosters are looking good and both these rosters are looking to be able to take the edge in map 1. But Waynesburg, I want to get your thoughts, because you seem to know the players a little bit better than me. Do you think that Reaper you were kind of poising towards a little bit, you think that's going to be a big game changer that we could possibly look to be putting a lot of pressure on the opposing tank?
I mean, it has been in the past, and Jordan and crew are able to work with it really well together. A lot of times when the tank is diving in, it seems like the comms are there. They're calling out the target. They've got great target acquisition. They're able to get in, find a couple kills, get out, rinse, and repeat. So last year, I don't think I saw them lose a single game when I was casting. They had a very solid team. They may have had one senior graduate, but most of the roster looks the same, at least to me on paper here, that we've seen in previous seasons. So I would expect them to kind of have that similar style, similar composition here as well, and just kind of doing what works for them. So that is kind of what I expect from them here in this one.
I'm totally with you on that. I think that currently when you kind of take a look at the meta that we see in OWCS and leagues like that, the Reaper has recently been gaining a lot of prevalence, and I think that's something that could possibly be shifting the meta, especially towards teams like Waynesburg, who are going to be looking to run that a little bit further than others who are going to be adapting more towards that kind of solid composition that you kind of see a little bit more often when teams like to run something like that Genji Tracer, something like putting in an Echo is always a little bit more common. However, when you see those kind of traditional characters like Reaper get a little bit more prevalence within the meta, it kind of adapts to teams like Waynesburg and allows them to be able to get a little bit stronger. On the other side, Arcadia. Now, something that's kind of big about them is they have a tank player who really does like to kind of change up the meta, as we're probably going to be seeing that Junker Queen coming on out, something that's not as common in the current meta, despite being definitely a stronger pick. We're looking at Waynesburg to be running those more meta picks like that Orisa, which counters the JQ really well, like the Ramatra, which is such a prevalent tank, especially on a map like Lijiang Tower, where it's a lot of brawl that we're going to be seeing, especially on that control tower, like you were kind of mentioning earlier. That being a big map for it, I think that and especially map of Night Market, those are going to be two really big ones that we're going to be seeing possibly a Ramatra mirror on.
Yeah, I don't know if I've seen Waynesburg play too much Ramatra, but I personally love Ramatra, so I would be all for it. Again, I know in the past it has been a ton of Orisa, some Malga in there as well, so it'll be interesting to see what they opt to go with. Now, I know they had kind of a star Juno player as well, and I think that is one of the seniors who has graduated. So I think that's one thing that I'll be looking out for as well. I know, like I said, Blue Hound, Jordan, Quasar fell. I know she also plays on the Valorant roster, but so there's definitely a lot of familiar names, some new ones though on the roster as well. So again, I think maybe just one graduating senior, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
Losing those seniors certainly is tough, though. Having to fill in new players to adapt to their roles, it's hard on these teams, that especially when you kind of rely on team synergy to carry you through matches, as your 5 players that are playing as a cohesive unit, not 5 individuals playing Overwatch. I think that when you lose that one player, it takes a little bit of time to really get back into the flow of things. So week 1 certainly might be a test to see whether or not they've been able to successfully merge these new players coming on into the 2025-2026 school year with the rest of the team who's kind of been here for a little bit, able to mesh in with the environment that Waynesburg has to offer. But we'll just have to wait and see, Hot Sauce.
Yeah, I mean, I know Jordan and a couple of the players were new in the previous season, and they had a very successful season, as we mentioned last season. So obviously have had some good experience. They seem to have a very great program at Waynesburg. I know Lama and a couple of us were able to stop down and visit it. It's a very nice facility. So, I mean, they have a great program there. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that success from the previous season now spills over here. I mean, they seem to be very, put in a ton of hard work off season as well as on season. So I expect Waynesburg to come out swinging here today, and I'm hoping to see him get a dub. Again, it is a best of 5. I'm a big fan of having as many games as possible. So I'd like to see it go all the way to 5, but I'm expecting a Waynesburg to bring home the dub tonight.
I mean, I totally agree. I think when you're playing these best of 5s, it really does come down to who's got that mental preparation done. And if you've been practicing a lot in the off season, it's certainly going to boost that morale. You go down a map, that's going to allow you to think to yourselves, okay, not the end of the world. We've done this in scrims. We've gone down in scrims. We've been able to bring it back. Let's just do it here again. And I think if that's something that they've been able to work on within their practice arena, then yeah, I certainly believe that this team has that opportunity to be able to take home the dub tonight.
And I think I see him in chat there. Solinator was the star Juno from last season that I was thinking of. So it'll be interesting to see who's stepping up for that support role. I know Juno has been very, very popular. Kind of took over for Lucio there for a while. But I know you said you're a support main. Is there anybody you're expecting to see out here tonight?
I mean, I think if they lock in the Juno, it's certainly an interesting pick. It might throw a curveball in their opponent's plans. But currently, I mean, Juno has been a little bit shifted out of the meta. Right now, we're really seeing that Kiriko, Lucio, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if either team runs that Wu Yang. I mean, I don't really expect it as much for Arcadia. However, Waynesburg, it definitely could be a curveball that they might try and run into the playbook. If they can launch a full-scale invasion onto Arcadia running just a support that has so much DPS potential, I think that there's definitely that opportunity, especially when it comes to synergizing ultimates. The Wu Ying has one of, if not top 3 support ults in the game right now. I love it personally. I think combining it with a mobile character like Tracer, like Genji, like Ramatra, like Wrecking Ball, anyone like that, Winston as well, there's just so many good opportunities to be able to find real impact with that ultimate. And I think being able to get that knockdown good and be able to find the stuns is just a really helpful ability, especially when it comes to team fights that are very close range and very just kind of meshed together, where you got all 5 players playing in that unit. If you can get a 5-man ult off as Wu Yang, it can be really, really impactful to the rest of the fight. So that's something I'm looking forward to, that Wu Yang possibly coming out. But I think if we're really going to be seeing both teams coming out with a meta composition, we should be looking towards that Kiriko Lucio to be the adaptation both teams are going to make to this current school year.
And I think that's what's fun. I know you and I both do a lot of Scholastic where we see a lot more of those comfortability picks, but I think that's why I really like Collegiate, is because you kind of get a mixture of that. You get, some schools or teams or players running the meta, but some still kind of sticking true to their comfortability and just what they're good at. So I'm hoping we have a little bit of array of that. As fun as the meta can be to watch, I kind of enjoy teams that branch off from the meta a little bit and are still able to make it work for them. So we'll definitely have our eyes peeled for these compositions as we get ready to get them loaded into the lobby here. But hopefully it shouldn't be too much longer, and we'll get down to Lijiang Tower. We talked about it, a very common map. Everybody should be very comfortable on this one. So I think it's a great starting point here for both of these teams.
Absolutely. I'm totally with you. I think when you switch off the meta, it really does just throw a curveball, and it's fun for us as viewers as well to be able to witness these new ideas that both teams are coming with. And I really like it, especially as a support player myself, as when you're playing these different picks, you can synergize supports to make it meta. Obviously, the Kiriko Lucio on a map like Lijiang's going to be really good because Brawl is kind of a necessity here. But once we get to map 2, once we get to map 3, I wouldn't be surprised if we see that on a Brig, which we actually will be getting on map 1. On a Brig is going to be coming out from Arcadia. Waynesburg going to be running a Moira with a Juno, like you had mentioned earlier. So they got a lot of healing output for Waynesburg. Let's see whether or not that's going to be able to keep them up. Blue Hound, as you mentioned, not going to be on the Reaper to start us off. The Cass is going to be the pick. So mixing up with that Symmetra, the question is going to be for both teams. Do they stick it? Now, Symmetra is pretty prevalent on a map like Lijiang Tower, as there's a lot of good options to be able to set yourself up. However, I don't know if they're just going to be using it for that TP, which is definitely a function they could just go for and then go for the swaps.
Yeah, that's typically what Jordan does. He often get it out there as quickly as possible, and we talked about it. That Reaper or the Genji, which we do see the Genji coming in. Gavel, one of these new players on the team that is on the Valorant roster as well, and we are on board here. But Genji with that Reflect, Jordan trying to dish out some damage and it back to safety, able to find Kasoto. So one early pick, both supports go down, and now an opportunity for Waynesburg to press forward.
Jordan's going to be taking a little bit of damage, having to deal with the Symmetra. It's going to be light work, however, taking them down instantly. Otter's going to be falling to the ground. Arcadia's in a bit of a pinch right now with Cthulhu falling as well, and Waynesburg instantly picks up the point. They're going to allow Sopoke to navigate back to the team spawn, and now they're just going to be looking to put a stranglehold for as long as possible.
I saw Dr. Skywalker updating us as well. Wu Yang has been banned away, so won't have to deal with Wu Yang here up close and personal. Look out for a bit of trouble. Plaid Stripes in the kill feed, but it's Sopoke with a big two-piece here. And all of a sudden, that early success gets stifled away. Arcadia looking to bounce back.
Unfortunately, Kasoto is going to fall early, but they should be able to respond in terms of this next team fight. However, I think Arcadia is certainly going to have a massive advantage. The Rampage is almost up for Sopoke. So Arcadia, a team that has so much firepower, especially when it comes to their tank and DPS, I'm really looking forward to seeing whether or not they're going to be able to keep up this success. But right now, the next team fight's about to engage, and we see the shout to start us off.
Well, hotter is Catboy, and again, it's now the domino effect coming in here for Arcadia as they find 3 big picks onto Waynesburg. Gavel's in trouble, eventually goes down. Quasar on this Moira, and another support that I typically love. Might be a little biased here myself, but able to get back here. It's going to be up to Waynesburg to kind of regroup, reset here. They've got the Annihilation in the hands of Gavel, and something that they potentially could use here.
I'm loving how Waynesburg could possibly get this team fight won, since we see Arcadia so together. But unfortunately, the Rampage is going to be massive. A 5-man Rampage coming on in from Sopoke. Cthulhu's going to be able to find the first blue down. There's Kasoto to fall, but Sopoke has done the damage.
He's done the damage, but Gavel's fighting back. A 2K and Quasar, they combine for 4. And Waynesburg digs deep into the pockets to pull out all the skills. And now Gavel pressing onto the site. It's contention time as they force them off, and Waynesburg should be able to regain control here.
Iroh Catboy trying to get the save. Not gonna happen. Sopoke falls. The stagger is here. Arcadia, I thought they had that in the bag with a 3K. Unfortunately, Waynesburg has Gazel, and that's gonna be a free, or Dazzle, sorry. That's gonna be a free fight win for him. Waynesburg still having 2 ults, almost 3 in the bag. It could be a really good opportunity for them here to be able to equalize this game.
Looking to equalize it out. We're getting close to being tied here as well. We hear the high noon coming out, but Blue Hound immediately goes down. Jordan on the blade, able to find not 2, but make it a triple. And he's looking for more. He's hungry for kills, and he can't seem to get full. The slice, the dice, the reflect comes in as well. And Waynesburg able to hold on for a little while longer.
Doing some great stuff out here. Waynesburg going to invest both DPS ults plus the orbital ray, but Arcadia is coming back with firepower. Iroh Catboy has that Kasune Rush. They have their otters with the ultimate as well, so it could possibly be a little bit of a difficult situation for Waynesburg to be able to hold this. We see the engagement coming on out. Engagement comes in Kasoto. Otters as well, going to be dropping an ultimate, trying to get some shots, but unfortunately the railgun is just not good enough. Cthulhu finds one, Sopoke finds another, but Gazel on the other side. Quasar as well, going to be able to bring this back. Gazel trying to make something happen, but it's the tank 1v1 that goes their favor, and it's Arcadia to fall again by the looks of it. Gazel getting into their nemesis form and going for more. Not able to connect the point. We're going to overtime.
I mean, Ramatra was fighting tooth and nail to the very end there, able to hold on. We see that overtime fuse is lit momentarily. Jordan dancing around, chasing down Catboy, finds Casoto, Fell gets Catboy, and just like that, Waynesburg is going to look to close it out. It's one more ult coming in, though. Cthulhu finding Blue Hound, and now Arcadia trying to stand tall here.
Yeah, Sopoke looking like the last hope for the team, but unfortunately the Rampage just not enough. Arcadia is going to fall. Map 1 going to Waynesburg, but it is still that best of 3 for Control. 66% looks good, but that 100 looks a whole lot better.
Yeah, you know, Waynesburg had a nice start. We saw Arcadia begin to battle back. It was a beautiful ult from Sopoke, and it looked like they were really going to capitalize, but it was Gav on this Ramatra who turned it around with that annihilation, and I think because of that really kind of helped solidify that win for Waynesburg. So big play here from Gavs, and now we'll get ready for this second sub-map here. So an opportunity for Waynesburg to close out Control into. It'll be up to Arcadia if they want to extend the longevity here of Control.
We see the same play from before, sticking to these Symmetras to start us off, and then Otters going over to the Sojourn. We see the kind of mirror matchup, except Cthulhu going to be on another character. Casoto going to be the first one down once more. Unfortunately, Cthulhu's going to be on an island on the point, looking to engage, going to be able to do it. The cleanse keeps them alive, but the engagement from Jordan looks like too much to handle. There is going to be a Kiriko fighting off Jordan for a little bit, but who knows how long that's going to last. Jordan stays alive, gets the extra damage, deflect out, but they still have a couple cooldowns remaining. Sopoke finds one, instantly falls. Jordan's going to be able to pick up the next, and that's Arcadia to fall once more. Waynesburg putting on all the stops.
Another beautiful start here for Waynesburg. They'll begin to put some percentage on the board, and now this choke point can be a tough one to deal with around this bridge here. So we'll see if Arcadia maybe decides to dip around the backside, or if they're just going to try to pressure on through here, as we see Ramatra and everybody else now getting set up.
Exactly. Arcadia's in a bit of a rough spot. They keep getting hit by the poke damage coming from Waynesburg University. And as of now, the percent is really starting to climb for Jordan. 70% for the Dragon Blade. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to get that up. Cleanse is already out. That's really looking bad. The utility's not going to be there. Commanding Shout comes out. Arcadia looking to engage, but Jordan on the flank instantly demolishes them. And a clean team fight comes through from Waynesburg.
It's time, as they say, to hashtag jack it up, because Waynesburg is absolutely tearing up the competition right now and already nearing that 50% mark. Arcadia, they haven't found a way to get onto this point yet. Waynesburg continues to find big picks, but at least Arcadia is able to reset here. They do regroup. They make sure they don't stagger in, so they give themselves at least one, maybe two more opportunities.
Currently, Waynesburg, they have Arcadia trying to do the exact same play. We'll see whether or not they'll find success. The second time, Dragon Blade comes out, and instant find success. Casoto falls, both supports fall. There's the third onto Otters. Bell's going to be able to find the next to decline the 5K, but the Waynesburg Yellow Jackets continue their supreme reign.
They are looking phenomenal here through Control, and now they just need about 20% more to solidify this dub here. Again, a best of 5, the first to 3, and this would be one heck of a way to start it off. Now, Arcadia realistically should be able to get back and find some contention. It is one more fight territory, but with Waynesburg peppering in these shots from a distance, it certainly makes it that much more difficult.
Oh, and look at the annihilation possible. Blue Hound finds the first. Fell's gonna go for the second. Jordan with the double kill from their dash, and that's gonna leave Arcadia down and out. Waynesburg University takes a commanding map 1.
And just as I kind of expected here, Waynesburg kind of picking up where they left off last season. I mean, we talked about Solinator on the Juno there. Fell had some big shoes to fill, but she steps up and does a phenomenal job. And now we take a look at the play of the game here from Quasar. And I know you got to be happy it's a support.
I mean, we just take a look at this coalescence coming in from Quasar. Instant domination being shown. And you can kind of see at the end there, it's not just the damage output, it's the healing too. Quasar doing an absolute job being able to sustain the team, keeping them alive, meanwhile also doing a ton of damage. Arcadia just had no real way to beat the brawl, and maybe they'll be able to swap off it coming into map 2, but at least from map 1, that looked heavily one-sided towards the end there.
Yeah, and some teams just play better in different modes. I myself am not the biggest fan of control. I tend to like the escort or the hybrid style maps a little more. And so maybe that's the case for Arcadia. And that's the nice thing about a best of five is they're going to have an opportunity here to bounce back and give it another shot. I do believe it'll be up to them to choose the map of which and where we're heading next. So maybe something that they can pick that's a little bit more comfortable for them. Maybe they've run some strategies or practiced on a specific map a little more. So something to keep an eye out for. But I mean, it's not something that really bothered Waynesburg last year. They're pretty comfortable on a lot of maps, and there's not too many teams that have really forced them out of the composition that they run. I think that's something that I'm looking for. Is there going to be a team that can maybe counter some of these abilities or characters and force them out of that comfort zone? Excuse me.
I think realistically we should be seeing King's Row here. I personally scrimmed against Arcadia more than my fair share. And they like playing Lijiang. They like playing King's Road. Suravasa is another map we could possibly be seeing. However, I'm the problem with what you said is I'm gonna give my honest opinion here. I have lost a total of 1 map to Arcadia, and it was Lijiang Tower. So whether or not they're gonna be able to win here, I'm not saying it's over. However, I am gonna say it is less than likely that any map will go a different way, especially after that 100-0. I mean, it was looking really strong. They looked like a cohesive unit. Waynesburg in general just looked so good. They had supports on the, like, you very rarely saw them lose the first player because of those supports. I think their supports were some big carries. We saw their Genji doing some phenomenal work, especially on that second map of Lijiang. And I think that their tank in general was just looking good overall. Their annihilations just were doing so much impact for the rest of the team to be able to play behind, rally behind that one player, and just instantly go in, find the team fights. And Waynesburg just looked good. I mean, there's not much else you can say about it. They looked like a team that really is going to be contenders for the championship. And I mean, I just want to see what they can make happen in map 2. Not to get ahead of myself, obviously. I mean, who knows? Maybe Arcadia's got some crazy stuff. I'd like to see Casoto off of the Brig. I don't know if that's a possibility. What do you think?
Well, you guessed it, Kings Row. I feel like that is probably the most picked map in the history of Overwatch. So it's really not surprising. But yeah, I feel like maybe not as much value from the Brig as they wanted, but I think things change when you get away from the control and you go to these hybrid or these escort style maps. And so obviously we know Widow is very popular on this first point, but there are a lot of long sight lines, Ash. I mean, there's honestly a lot of valuable characters that you can use in a map like this, but I don't really see Waynesburg switching up their composition much at all until, like I said, until Arcadia forces them to do so. So I think it's going to be up to Arcadia to figure out maybe some type of counters or something that will work for them here. And Waynesburg's going to get to choose whether they want to attack or defend first here as well. So yeah, Arcadia gets that comfort map pick, but it's Kings Row. Everybody's comfortable with this map. Waynesburg gets to pick their side. So in my mind, this certainly does favor Waynesburg here.
Yeah. I mean, I wanted to see the Kiriko Lucio last map because you're playing on a Lijiang Tower, so I thought, like, okay, that would make sense. But we're running a Brig Kiriko. In what world does that make sense, Hot Sauce? I mean, from the other side, we're running Moira with the Juno, which makes a lot of sense because Juno has speed. Your Ramatra needs speed. Everyone needs speed. It makes sense, Hot Sauce, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. But then we have a no speed with the Drunk Queen, and I'm like, okay, well, we're doing something here. I don't know if it's a good something or a bad something, but Hot Sauce, let me tell you, I don't know. I want to see this map 2 go, and I want to see this go to the distance. We're going to get overtime. Both teams going 6-6. We're getting the tie. That's my prediction. What do you think?
I don't know if we're going to see overtime. It's pretty rare, but I'll keep my fingers crossed certainly. And I think that's kind of what I touched base on earlier though. We talked about some of these meta picks and compositions that work together, but at sometimes, there are some newer players, there are people still kind of finding their footing. And so I think that comfortability pick is something that they can find a little bit of that, that comfort in and just trust in their play style a little bit more. And so maybe that's why we saw that Brig there. But I think, at times you have to be you have to be not afraid to get out of that comfort zone a little bit. And so sometimes you have to take a little bit of a gamble, that risk versus reward that we often talk about. But I wouldn't be surprised that, if Arcadia does have some similar troubles in this map, if we do see those compositions switch up a little bit.
You know what? We can agree to disagree. And I'm down to do that. I'm down to do that. If we want to do that, that is absolutely okay with me. And I think that for the most part, Arcadia, they got some opportunities. We'll see what they can do. Waynesburg, though, just looks a whole lot better. I'm thinking for the most part, the only problem I'm really seeing is I think they're not really taking as many angles as I'd like to see Hot Sauce. I think for the most part, Waynesburg looks good, but they look good because they're a unit. Now, as soon as they face somebody who's really going to be able to take advantage of that, it could cause a little bit of problems. We'll see whether or not Arcadia has that opportunity here, because that's one of the main reasons I think they got so much done on that first point of Lijiang, was because of the fact that they had players like Sopo going in for that 5-man rampage, and they were able to really find success off of it. Because when you group up so tight, it kind of leaves you susceptible to some of these really big ultimates, some of these really big abilities in general. So I know this sounds strange, but I would actually like to see Arcadia possibly look to do something like a Junkrat, because I think it's a very simple character to kind of lean towards, and I think it would do a lot in terms of being able to put a wrench in Waynesburg plans.
Yeah, and I know Waynesburg is very, very good. I'm just not quite as convinced as you yet. It's only map 1. We really haven't seen a lot from Arcadia yet. So, I think they have the potential to bounce back. They have a solid squad. It's just about playing together as that cohesive unit. So I want to see them now on this payload style map before I really kind of make a determination. Because if there's one thing I learned at the collegiate level, you really can't count any team out until it's over.
Yeah, this is kind of the standard Arcadia strategy. They like to rush left room, and it's going to work out. Or Jordan going for the TP, immediately able to get to the high ground. Blue Hound going to be a little bit low, opting to back out. They got the Moira healing on them, so it's going to be pretty good. Arcadia's taking a lot of damage on point, though, so it's going to be really rough. Splitting the point, BFL's going to be able to find the first. They get a double kill from Gavzel, and that's going to lead to a triple, actually. Waynesburg taking a complete advantageous position, and I kind of thought that was going to go a different way after Jordan took so much damage at the start, but unfortunately for Waynesburg, they just weren't able to secure the kill. Oh, coming on in. Cthulhu's going to be instantly taken down, so Arcadia looking to have to regroup once more. Commanding Shout's going to come on out. Otters, low HP, going to drop to 0. We see a bit of damage coming in from Quasar, looking to make a little bit of a Moira diff actually come into play. Iroh Catboy falling to the ground. And at this point, it is seeming as if Arcadia gonna have to go for another regroup. None of their plans seem to be looking very successful. So I don't know if that's the whole scrapbook, whether or not they got something else in the tank. They don't go for any swaps just yet. They're running that Otters on the Sojourn still, and it seems to be finding a little bit of success. But Sopo with an amazing knife is going to be the one to really put the hurt onto Waynesburg. That might be what they needed. Now both supports fall, seeming like Waynesburg is doing everything in their power. Gavzel is going to be low as well. The whole team looks to fall. Jordan, last alive, looking to play in the trenches of their enemy team spawn, looking for the TP, able to connect. So Jordan's still in the spawn of Arcadia, but unfortunately, that's not going to lead to any real plays just yet, as Arcadia is able to secure the point. 4 minutes 30.
And that's a great time, honestly. They had a couple, mishaps in their first couple pushes, but that's one of the tougher choke points in this map as a whole. And so it does often take a little time to unlock that payload. We see Arcadia getting it with plenty of time here off the back of Sopoke's phenomenal plays there. And so I think this is a great opportunity for them to find that footing, begin to pressure forward here, and see if they've got what it takes to get to that next checkpoint.
I'm loving this from Arcadia right now. They're going for the engagement. This is exactly where you have to expend the ult. Gavzel with a phenomenal play coming on out. Blue Hound going to be able to find the first. Kasoto is going to be the one to fall down. They already dropped the ultimates. Nothing left to sustain. Iroh Catboy going to be without the coalescence, staying alive. Waynesburg, on the other hand, though, they don't have their two big ones. They still do have that overclock. That could be really, really big if used correctly. But Arcadia, they're going to have an engagement with an ultimate advantage sooner rather than later. Both DPS ults are up because Soto's gonna fall immediately. Looking like the next is gonna be Cthulhu. Gonna happen just in the nick of time, however. Jordan pops the Death Blossom, and Sopo trying to make something happen, but the Shining Ray of Hope from Arcadia, going to be the next to fall, staggered out, and Arcadia having to push through such a tough choke point. Waynesburg easily has the potential here to put a stranglehold on this game. We'll see whether or not that's possible.
I mean, this is another just a really tough choke point to get through at time. Gavs and crew are playing it very, very nicely here, and you see Bluehound has an ult on deck and ready to flex. There's a couple here for Arcadia as well, and this Venture one is one that can be very deadly, especially if you can find a way to get in toward the backline. We see him trying to pressure through now, but they're having a little bit of trouble. Bluehound in trouble as well. Jordan, Casoto, both finding picks, and we do see Casoto off that brig and onto the Lucio, unfortunately heading back to the spawn.
Yeah, Casoto moving over to the Lucio. Definitely looking like a little bit better, but unfortunately not better enough. Waynesburg drops out their array, and it's instantly going to be Waynesburg to find the fight win. Looking to get the stagger. Jordan maybe getting a little bit too ambitious. Going to be looking to shift their way on out. And now Arcadia. They definitely are looking a little bit rough. They expended a lot. They dropped the overclock. They dropped the beat. Nothing came of it. The point still in the same position, halted by a fault. And now Arcadia having to do so much more with so much less in the bank.
Yeah, you know, and you take a look, I mean, Gavs has the Annihilation. We've got Quasar here with the Coalescence as well, and so I think it's going to be tough for Arcadia to find some pressure. Catboy picked up an ult here in the meantime as well. Fell stepping forward, back and forth. Casoto dangerously low, but able to keep him alive for the time being. Catboy, the Coalescence comes out, trying to pressure back. The Annihilation will be popped here. Fisticuffs, bow to bow, standing toe-to-toe, but Casoto, Soappoke, both fine picks, and Waynesburg might just be in some trouble.
Jordan really going for a dicey ult there. Not sure what the comms were on that end, but unfortunately Waynesburg going to be investing heavily into a lost fight on... I don't know. I think they probably should have saved ults there. They lost both their supports pretty early. I think Arcadia did a really good job. I don't know why Soappoke dropped the Rampage. I don't know if it was like an ego play of, oh yeah, we don't need these ults, or what was on the end of that one, but you know what? Lots of investments from both teams, and Waynesburg is unfortunately going to lose that stranglehold they once gathered. We see Jordan up on the top, on the high ground, looking to get a little bit of poke damage, able to really put a little bit of pressure on the side of Arcadia, but they are going to look to deal with that relatively smoothly, having a little bit of Sojourn utility, TPing into the back lines, looking to get some good damage out onto the opposing Sojourn, trying to commit the kill, able to do just that. Others is going to fall, and Jordan doesn't get dealt with, dealing so much damage in the back line. Arcadia forced into a new regroup. Snowpoke not with the team, going to be falling towards the end of this engagement, not able to find too much, but they are actually going to be able to shut their Ramatra down and send him back to the lobby packing. The gray screen is there. Snowpoke still alive, full HP, and they're able to make so much happen. Now, Casoto falls again, and Bluehound cleans the lobby up. It's all blue in the kill board, and we're seeing Arcadia with only 20 seconds before they're down.
Yeah, 20 seconds makes it tough. I mean, honestly, to find that contention, they're going to have to be at risk of staggering themselves out. They need someone to light that overtime wick once more, but Jordan up into the face of the competition, just slowing them down drastically. Venture's in a whole lot of trouble, and it is Otters that now eventually respawns here, but the ult from Jordan could solidify this final point. The overtime fuse is lit. The Death Blossom looking to bloom into a double kill, and just like that, Waynesburg may have just solidified a win here in map number 2.
Yeah, putting themselves on match point would be nice. It's all up to Arcadia now. Will they be able to shut him down on the defense? But with the way Waynesburg has been really igniting, I doubt that's going to be a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough. I think that they're certainly capable. I mean, we've seen so many moments of greatness from Arcadia. We've seen, you know, especially off the back of the Junker Queen. Now, you know, Casoto switching over to the Lucio. I think they had some more success there as well. And so I think that they're certainly capable, but they're going to have to pull out all the stops. They're going to have to be playing as that cohesive unit that we talked about. And they're really going to have to limit those minor mistakes, because Waynesburg is a team that really makes you pay. They capitalize on any minor mistake that they see in front of them. So I think if Arcadia is able to limit some of those mistakes, make sure they play together, don't overextend too much, they very well could take a map away from Waynesburg. But like you said, it's tough to bet against the Yellow Jackets right now. I mean, I think they were undefeated last year, or almost undefeated. Like I said, every game that I was able to cast, I saw they won. And so, you know, I think that they're on a hot streak right now. And with a mostly returning roster here, they're just picking up where they left off.
Well, when you're Arcadia, it's a similar situation, right? They've played in previous years. And beyond that, I mean, they have multiple PIEA alumni on this roster, so it certainly is a team that has that experience in the back seat behind that team that's about to go up onto match point, onto series point. And I think that this adaptation from Slowpoke looks really nice. Swapping over to the Roadhog, a character that has recently become absurd within the Overwatch meta, and especially when we've kind of seen Waynesburg doesn't really like the characters that kind of take a little bit of a counter towards that. I think that there's certainly an opportunity for them to find success here.
Oh, they're going to need all the success possible, but Jordan and crew are already pushing through here with the fierceness. Scavs finds the first Cthulhu, though, able to find a trade back, and with the tank down, they have an opportunity to push them back, but Jordan, Quasar have got other plans, and now Bluehound says, getting some kills, not without me or not. They continue to fall, and Waynesburg should be able to unlock the point with plenty of additional time.
Yeah, they're going to go up to 5 minutes or so here, which certainly is looking unreasonable to be able to hold, but we'll see what Arcadia can make happen. None of them do get fully held out of spawn, so they are completely all back on into the fight. We'll see whether or not they can hold this choke point. Obviously, it's a tough one, but we saw Waynesburg able to hold this for long. I don't know if they're going to be able to push through it even easier.
I mean, you look at all the space that Waynesburg has already taken, though, and it makes, you know, it kind of limits the ability of Arcadia to kind of play around this choke point. And now Jordan pressing in off the back of the Ramatra. They combine for 2, and Jordan's not done yet. He's going to go in. He pops the ult, and he finds a triple. Combines for 4, and Waynesburg looking absolutely unstoppable.
And this is what happens when you have Jordan just able to get everything done, being the janitor of Waynesburg Overwatch, completely just sweeping away the lobby. And Arcadia just didn't really have an answer. They're coming on into potentially last fight territory, and it's certainly seeming like it is a rough one. Currently, though, Arcadia, last fight, 2 support ults in the bank. Waynesburg, they got the Annihilation, something that's proven a lot of success in the past. Engagement comes through. We see the Ramatra on the front line. Coalescence gets activated, beat to counter, but Quasar looking to back up, trying to get a bit of damage. Quasar is going to be the first to fall, taking the Annihilation, going for the initiative, trying to shut down Casoto, able to make that happen with ease. Hook comes out from the Roadhog, able to counter in Price, but now it's going to be Davzol taking the initiative once more within the game and ruining the chances of Arcadia. We see Cthulhu as that last line with the Moira, looking to look like Shaq and Kobe, but whether or not they're going to be able to make that happen seems unlikely, as Waynesburg completely outmatches them in firepower.
I gotta say, like I mentioned earlier, Gabs is one of these new players on the roster. I've seen him on the Valorant squad as well, and I have quickly become a big fan. A ton of talent, dishing out the damage here with Ramatra. Great game and situational awareness. You combine that with Jordan Fell and the rest of the crew, Bluehound, Quasar. I mean, absolutely near flawless here from the squad. We take another look at the play of the game coming in from Jordan on this Reaper, who initially started out on the Genji, made the swap to the Reaper, finds a pick, gets in here deep, dangerously low before popping the ult, and end up with a Quadra on the play. Nasty plays coming out from Jordan and the Reaper. Waynesburg now at series and match point.
Yeah, Waynesburg definitely looks really, really strong right now. Arcadia, not many chances left, needing to get a reverse sweep in order to bring this one home. But, you know, hot sauce, let's be for real for a second. Reverse sweeps, how uncommon would we say they are? I wouldn't say too uncommon. Obviously, it's certainly a rough one to be able to make that happen. It takes a lot of effort, grit, resilience, and the whatnot. But can we really count a team out before the screen says victory?
Yeah, you know, I mean, we talk about how tough sweeps are. I think reverse sweeps are even tougher. So I don't know, you know, I think it's going to be very, very tough. It's not off the cards, but I think it's going to be, you know, something that is a little more elusive. But honestly, I think Arcadia has the ability to win some of these maps, and that's where it starts. You know, 1 kill at a time, 1 map at a time, 1 round at a time, and you can begin to build off the back of that. So for Arcade, if I'm Arcadia, I don't even think about the reverse sweep at the moment. I think about, hey, let's just win one of these games. That's what I'm looking for. Let's just win one of these maps. And then if they win that next map, okay, guys, now we we can beat these guys. Let's win one more map. And I think that's you kind of take it step by step. So Arcadia has the skill. They're certainly capable of taking a map from Waynesburg, but when Waynesburg is playing near perfect like they are tonight, it's incredibly tough to find ways and in, to get those angles, to find those early picks, to give yourself that team advantage without overextending, because between the Ramatra and the Jordan in the back line, I mean, this Waynesburg team, again, is a very punishing team. And so you really have to have your head on a swivel. But, luckily for Arcadia, they'll get to pick the map again. So maybe an opportunity there to maybe give them that little extra oomph that they need to get over the top.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to want to go for something that can swing very heavily. So I'm going to assume we're going to be going to push. I'd imagine if we do see the push, New Queen Street looks a little bit more likely than some of the other options. However, I don't know whether or not I want to see the New Queen Street, as they've been kind of looking towards compositions that play very low groundish. And when you're kind of looking at something with so much verticality, such as New Queen Street, once you get past those first couple of starts of the segment, it just kind of relies heavily on being able to play those mobile characters that can kind of rely and stick towards the high ground. So if they want to put Casoto back on the brig and try and keep one of their DPS players on Sojourn alive on the high ground, that's definitely a possibility that they could opt in for. Could do the same thing with the Lucio as well, obviously. But I think for the most part, I'd like to just see kind of them brawling it out. I think that that's going to work a little bit better than trying to play for high ground, as Jordan's been unpunished for every little bit of aggressive movement that they've been able to make. So I think for the most part, Jordan's certainly somebody who you got to deal with if you're Arcadia, and they haven't really been doing it. I'd like to see Sopoke staying on the Roadhog. That way they can deal with the Death Blossom a little bit simpler, but we'll see what the plan is going to end up being.
Yeah, it's always easier said than done when we're sitting in the comfort of our booths up here, but we are headed to New Queen Street here. The map is going to be pushed, so we'll see if they opt to swap up the compositions a little bit. For Waynesburg, I feel like they don't have to, and I think we have to give a big credit to the supports here, both Quasar and Fell, because they're doing a phenomenal job. I mean, I've seen Jordan dangerously low a couple times, fading back to the group, and they're constantly keep him topped off. So again, Waynesburg, everybody has this role to fill on the squad, and they're all doing it almost perfectly. And so it's great to see that happening for Waynesburg, especially in week one. Sometimes knocking off some of that rust as you get back into the swing of things, at least on the competitive side, can be tough, but Waynesburg has been able to deal with it nicely. So it's going to be up to Arcadia here to find a way to bounce back.
Exactly. I think Waynesburg has just been doing so well time and time again, and it's being off of their DPS plays. I mean, Jordan's been looking phenomenal, and then beyond that, the tank, the support, everyone on this roster has just been firing on all cylinders, and I just want to keep seeing them playing to this potential that we all know they have. It's something that even with those graduates that we were kind of talking about earlier, with them gone, it didn't really stop this team from being able to prepare in the off season and just come in with such a high caliber that they've been showing. And I think for the most part, with Waynesburg being up 2-0, it's kind of just showing every other school within the NECC Division 8 that they are the contenders. They are going to be the ones aiming for the top, and certainly going to be putting it out on their names. We'll see whether or not they're going to be able to sweep this away 3-0 and really make that stomping ground in the NECC.
We saw a ton of sweeps from Waynesburg last season when they were able to win their division. So looking to be back-to-back champions. It's a nice start, but it is only the beginning of the regular season. So they have to continue to do what works well for them. They can't get complacent. And honestly, it seems like they're having a ton of fun while they're doing it, which is the most important thing. But we are locked and loaded for what could be our final map of the night. Arcadia, backs against the wall, do or die, win or go home. We'll see if they can pull out maybe a little rabbit out of the hat here. It's got some tricks up their sleeve. But again, Waynesburg, I just don't know how you slow them down right now.
Exactly. They look so good. And I think one of the main things is we're going to need to see Arcadia going for those a little bit more towards that comfort picks. Going for the meta hasn't really been able to prove success. And I kind of like this. Cthulhu going over to the May. I think this is a great pick. Now we can May them off and then run in with our Rampage and run in with our Commanding Shout and doing everything. What I think Arcadia needs to do to be able to take a map, they just need to play around Sopoke. If they can do that, then they should be able to win. Theoretically. If they don't do that, then who knows what's going to happen, hot sauce? But I think Waynesburg, they've been looking really good. They know what they need to do, and they come to work ready and prepared. We'll see whether or not they can shut him down on this Sigma, taking the Ramatra, putting it in the locker, and seeing if this Sig is going to be able to do just as much damage.
I love it. Sigma, one of my other favorite tanks. So, like I said, Gavs has quickly won over a big fan here. And I like the fact that we see Jordan on the May as well, switching it up a little bit. Quasar finds a pick, but it's Otters to answer back. Two go down here for Waynesburg. And this is the most early success we've seen from Arcadia so far. Gavs is going to fall on this Sigma. And you wonder if Waynesburg has early trouble like this, if we will see Gavs switch back to that Ramatra relatively quickly.
And this is kind of why I said that I think New Queen Street would be a good map for them, as if you kind of go towards something like the Flashpoint, it leaves a little bit of sense to be able to regroup and kind of recuperate after each and every point. On a map like New Queen Street, playing on that push mode, it gets a little bit more frustrating. If you're Arcadia here, you need to keep up this momentum, and you need to be able to keep winning these fights. If you can't do that, it could really lead to a bit of disapproval. But right now, they're certainly showing a lot of promise, as Cthulhu already falls to the ground.
We see an ult on deck here for Gavin, ready maybe to let that Melody sing. He picks up a kill on the Otters here. Arcadia has lost two, and I mean, they get 43 meters. It's a nice initial push, but they have to make sure that they can slow Waynesburg down on this retaliation push here. So they find a way to regroup. They have the ult in the hands of Kasoto. Catboy very close to that Kitsune rush here, about to be on deck. So I think we might just have an interesting battle here on our hands in a few moments.
Exactly. Arcadia, they got a couple ults in. They go for the commanding shot, looking to make something happen. Wall comes in to try and block them off. Blizzard alive, but the Coalescence going to keep their team healthy. Otter's going to be able to find a double kill, but instantly getting shut down by Jordan. Looking to make something else happen, but Gavzel down for the count. Jordan trying to stay alive. They don't have cooldowns just yet, but the Ice Ball comes back in two. Not going to be able to get that back alive. Sopo shuts him down just in the nick of time. Quasar looking to keep themselves alive and healthy. Will they be able to do that? The answer looks to be no, as we can kind of see the health bar lower, and Kasoto finds the kill, and Arcadia is locked and loaded for the checkpoint.
Yeah, that late pick on Quasar is huge as well. I mean, we see Sigma and crew out here early. They have to be careful that they don't stagger out. They want to make sure that they find a way to stop this push from Arcadia, because they've already reached that halfway point. Anything extra is going to be nice here as they look to unlock and power forward. Raining down from above is Bluehound and crew, but they haven't found a pick yet, and it's Arcadia with a slightly better ult economy here as well.
This could be a nasty rampage, and it is able to find a lot of players that keep on going in. Sopo finding a one. Kasoto gonna be able to come on in for the second. Arcadia looking like map 4 might be on the cards.
Looking good so far, and maybe New Queen Street is one of their powerhouse maps, because they are absolutely steamrolling at the moment. They said enough pitter patter, it's time to get at her, and they are nearing that final destination. And they've been doing a good job of staggering out their ultimates. They used two to win that last engagement. They still have two here from the DPS as well, and it's an opportunity to really extend this push forward.
Orbital Ray going to be the first thing to be engaged with. Jordan trying to get the deflect, looking to block out onto Otters. Not going to be able to happen, but Otters taking so much damage. Instantly shut down. Bluehound going to be able to want to do it. Jordan going on in, able to find the reset on the dash. Reset on the dash again! Jordan looking unstoppable, but unfortunately for Sopo, that unstoppableness is going to be taking them as well. Arcadia going to fall down finally. 99% though certainly is way too much to be letting go.
Very, very close to that 100-meter mark, but Waynesburg, now you mentioned it, making some swaps here. We see Gav onto this Orisa, Jordan back onto the Genji, where he's had a ton of success previously, so we'll see if they can get a little bit further. They only made it 17 meters on their initial push, and Otter's finding Jordan. That first pick is a big one here for Arcadia.
They shut down the best spawn point, but unfortunately with Gavels being the first to fall, it leaves Waynesburg without that keystone to play behind, and Arcadia will take full advantage, running them down and taking the team fight. Waynesburg keeping a couple ults in the bank. They got that Cole once more, but Arcadia still has Otters with their ult, with Kasoto on the beat. This could be really, really dominant from Arcadia right here and now.
Going to find a way to finish it out. We can hear some of these ults raining down. Quasar with the coalescence now into the background as well, trying to apply this damage into that backline, but has to be careful. He's got heals for himself, but now in trouble. Looks to fade away. The dash is there. He could be punished, but on the other side of things, Sopoke, Cthulhu, and now Kasoto, they combine for 4 in a row, and Arcadia is not ready to go silently into the night.
Arcadia looking really good, looking to finish this out at 4 minutes remaining. Can they make it happen? Ice Ball comes out. Jordan gonna be the first one into the engagement. Commanding Shout comes in as well, looking to get the spear off. Not gonna be able to connect. Otters able to find 2, popping up the overclock. We see the Blizzard alive. Quasar falls. One more to take something off of them. Trying to get the ult off, but they strike nothing. Jordan comes in with the Dragon Blade, instantly booped off the point, and Arcadia finally takes a win.
I knew they were capable. We talked about it, one game at a time, and all of a sudden that near impossible reverse sweep seems a little bit more feasible. And who else would be more deserving of the play of the game than Sopoke, who had an absolute field day here on New Queen Street, the glue that held the squad together. And we get to take another look at the action there on screen. Arcadia gets a dub on the board. Can they get 2 more though?
Oh my god, hot sauce. I think the answer is pretty obvious. Yes. I mean, they looked great. 4 minutes on the board, and they completely take New Queen Street. Who does this? An absolute domination. You don't see this type of dominance in ranked, and you certainly shouldn't be seeing it here. But Waynesburg, I got a question. Do we think they're going to go back to the Ramatra and win? Or do we think map 5 is on the table? Because I would go as far to say, if they swap back to the Ramatra, this series is over. I don't think that Kasoto can handle a Ramatra. I think that Sigma is hard to handle because of his kind of prevalence when it comes to being able to apply pressure to the enemy backline, especially when you're using the graphitic flux. However, the Orisa? Question marking my head. It doesn't seem to be finding nearly as much value as something like that Ramatra once did, especially map 1 or 2. I think if they just picked any of the 4 Flashpoint maps, they're going to be able to take the series. I think if they go to Escort, that might make them opt in for another one of those Orisa Sigmas, which I just don't think they want to do. I think that as a team, they're shooting themselves in the foot for going for these kind of like different meta takes. And I think if they just play what they've been playing and have been comfortable on, it could really work a lot better, because that Ramatra was so dominant. And then they swapped off of it, and it kind of allowed the opposing supports to kind of stay alive for a little bit longer, which you don't usually want to do in Overwatch. Hot sauce, I don't know if that's a hot take though.
Yeah, I think that could be agreed upon, but I think this is why we talked about why the reverse sweep is so tough earlier, right? Because now Waynesburg gets the luxury of having their map pick. So I truly believe they're going to pick a map that they're very comfortable on, a map where Ramatra and their typical comp that they enjoy using works on as well. And so, yeah, I kind of feel like we're going to see that Ramatra come back out. They've been having some fun. I don't think they want to see it go to a game 5. Waynesburg wants to go ahead and solidify that dub here in game 4. And so, yeah, I would be surprised if we don't see the Ramatra come back out.
Exactly. I mean, I think if you're on Lucio, maybe Kasoto can survive for a little bit longer, but I don't know if you remember map 1, but when we saw Kasoto on the Brig, it just didn't work. So I really just want to see that Ramatra. I love Jordan on the Reaper. I think Jordan on the Genji looked okay. It wasn't my favorite thing in the world. I think their Sojourn was putting up some good numbers. I think moving them to Mei was an interesting choice that definitely paid out dividends when it came to the Blizzard. But in terms of being able to synergize with the tank, utilizing that Ice Wall, I kind of preferred them on some of those other characters that were really finding that extra bit of value. So I definitely think that for the most part, this team looked really good. I think that their supports looked amazing. Still, I mean, I didn't totally understand a couple of plays, but I definitely think that for the most part, Waynesburg should be able to just take this 3-1. Unless Arcadia really just pulls around some kind of miracle. And we all know miracles are possible in esports, hot sauce, but how likely is this one? I mean, it's certainly a possibility, but there's definitely got to be a lot to go their way for it to happen.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we know Arcadia is capable of beating Waynesburg. We just saw it, and I think they have to have that mentality of one map at a time, which they seem to be doing well. But I think if Waynesburg gets back to that comp that was working well for them, Both, not just map 1 on Lijiang, but map 2 as well. I mean, they really couldn't slow Waynesburg down, so it didn't really matter if it was control or the escort. I mean, we saw Waynesburg unlock that payload with 541, almost 6 additional minutes. And so, like I said, because Waynesburg gets to choose the map, I think we're going to see Waynesburg going to a map that they're very comfortable on, that Ramatra and, whether it be Genji or Reaper both work on as well. And so I expect Waynesburg to come right back out swinging. I do believe that they're going to win this game, but, I'm also good at being wrong. So I wouldn't be surprised if Arcadia does find a way to upset them.
I think they're going Suravasa, either Suravasa or Route 66. Whether or not they actually do go for those, who knows? I'm just going off my gut feeling, and my gut, I love it. You know what? I love a lot of things in this world, hot sauce. I love Waynesburg's tank. I think that they did some really good stuff on Ramatra, and then trying to adapt to the meta. It was certainly an interesting play, and I think that they did some great stuff with it. I love hot sauce. I think you're very cool. You're a fun guy, and you know who else I love? I love the other tank from Arcadia. I think they've been the one reason that they were able to take that new Queen Street. And if you're Waynesburg, if you can shut this one player down, then there is certainly a good chance that they can win this match. But we'll see what happens. I think Jordan as well. Actually, I do like Jordan. I think Jordan's very cool. Jordan was doing a lot of good stuff on that Genji. I think they had like a triple dash reset, which was insane on New Queen Street. Even though their team was losing, this one player alone was doing a lot of good stuff. And I was wrong, actually, hot sauce. I'm very upset. But you know what? Junkertown is going to be picked. It's kind of similar to Route 66. It's got a lot of similar features. I don't know if that counts for anything.
Yeah, it's, aesthetically pleasing to the eye. It looks similar to Route 66, but this first choke point can be kind of a tough one as well. I mean, there's a couple little windy corridors throughout those, and you get a little bit of the best of both worlds, so to speak. So it doesn't surprise me that we're heading toward Junkertown. I think it's another map where Ramatra can do great. I mean, you have that shield when you're trying to make some pressure out of the gate there initially if you are on that attacking side, which I presume they will be. A lot of times when teams get to pick what side they want to start on, they often go with defense. If you can find an early stop, you know just how far you got to go. But I guess time will tell as far as that goes.
Well, I'll give you this much. Okay. The reason that teams pick defense after winning is because they know, okay, we just beat them. We want this to end quick. We're going to full hold them. We're going to take this easily. If we want to bring up statistics, attack, I think, has like a 54% win rate or something compared to defense. Like if you start attack first, you end up winning the game more. Whether or not that's going to mean anything in this context, who knows? I know I sure don't. Maybe they will just pick defense. But I do think that like both teams here should be picking attack first because they are very competitive with one another. Both of map 1 and map 3 were very close. I think map 2 looked a little bit like way more dominant. So I will definitely favor Waynesburg in this matchup as it is very similar to the hybrid match. As you're pushing that payload, you're trying to connect it to the final point. It is a little bit different than King's Row in a couple aspects. However, King's Row does not have nearly as much verticality you have to worry about. So I think that if Arcadia can make something happen in that regard, that could work really well from them. But I'm seeing these compositions being rolled out, and I want to just say, yeah, Waynesburg's winning this game 3-1.
Well, yeah, it's kind of interesting because we see Jordan making a swap here as well onto the Hanzo, Quasar, onto the Mercy here as well, which we haven't seen a ton of. But I think on defense, Mercy can be a really nice asset just because of that revive. If you don't have to walk all the way back from spawn, which happens to be a very long walk, especially here on this first point, it can be kind of a make or break difference for some of these fights. So we'll see if they can utilize or get the full value out of the potential here. But Bluehound is very comfortable on this Sojourn. We've seen it a lot. So I'm just kind of interested to see how well Jordan does on the Hanzo.
I think Quasar is just going to like fully pocket one player, and then I hope that's Jordan because Jordan was putting up some absolute miracle plays. But instantly we're going to be seeing Arcadia going for the high ground, looking to make something happen, drop off. Gavel's going to be trying to make something happen, but we are going to be seeing the cleanse coming into effect. Gavel's going to be taking a lot of damage. We see the Mercy healing impact coming on in. Sopo finding the first elimination. Bluehound taking a lot of damage, instantly falls as well. Arcadia 2ing so much to help the team. This rollout from them was really, really nice. It was beautifully executed. And now they're able to just put 3 players on the payload, force Waynesburg to regroup. And now they're just going to have a free fight win and maybe even be able to stagger out this tank, as we are going to be seeing Sopo able to go for that knife, able to connect it as well, down to 100 HP. Another knife comes on in. Cthulhu able to get it. Will Quasar go for the hero play, trying to get the res? I'd imagine the answer is going to be no, as we're seeing a lot of players push up. Jordan taking a lot of damage as well, going to be forced into that Mercy beam. We'll see whether or not they can find that headshot to really equalize this.
Yeah, they got to be careful of getting staggered out. I mean, Gav unfortunately dying early there in that one, stagger out. Now you have to wait on that tank to get back, and so a lot of time wasted here. Arcadia able to gain a ton of ground, and I don't think Waynesburg's going to be able to contend this. They're going to have to give up this first point, look to fall back. Unfortunately, Jordan overextends a bit here and goes down.
I don't really understand, but Gavel's going to be able to find one. Jordan traded out. 2 DPS are down for the count, but Gavel taking the initiative, putting in the work, but the damage being so highly outputted. Sopo finds the kill. Iro Catboy is going to be able to find the Mercy as well, and Sopo just dominating the lobby, able to find a double kill. Waynesburg regrouping, Quasar swapping back to the Kiriko, so they're no longer going to be running that Moira, no longer going to be running that Mercy, but instead going for a bit of a mirror matchup between the Kirikos on both sides.
Jordan off the Hanzo and back onto the Genji here as well. But things are, you know, in these windy corridors, there are a lot more close quarter combat. So could probably get a little more value here. Already dashing through, finds Kasano, one support down, and it might just be the help that Waynesburg needs.
Yeah, Casoto falls down. We see the initiative being taken, engaging with the Venture. Dash comes in. Jordan takes a bit of damage. Deflect out, looking to try and fight. Barrier coming in from the Ramatra, making something happen. Quasar going for the poke damage, not able to find anything just yet. We do see a bit of utility already launched. Fell no longer having the speed boost. Gavel looking to play a little bit passive, waiting for the time to strike with that annihilation.
Oh, on board now, Gavs. That's the annihilation we talked about, but not letting it ring out just yet. Continuing to throw some fists here as they are up into the face of the competition, and now the reflect comes here. Casado, no, it's Gavs that finds Casado, and unfortunately not able to pop the sound barrier. Soappoke's going to return fire with an ult of their own, as well as Cthulhu, but only Fell has fallen so far. Not as much value from the ultimates as they would have liked, but eventually getting Fell. Gavs finds Anders, and a bit of back and forth here.
Yeah, Quasar's going to be the next one to fall. Jordan as well, going to be dropped by Sopo. The double kill is nice. Blue Hound is better. Able to find the kill. Iro Capo is going to be the one to be dropped. They do have the overclock if they try to invest, but unfortunately, that 100% not looking to meet its marks. Casoto able to find a double kill. 3 minutes on the clock. Arcadia having this point on lockdown.
Yeah, I mean, they're pushing with ease at the moment, and they're about to add a little more time to the clock. 4:30 here to work with to get to this final destination. The alt economy is fairly even across the board. I'd say it's slightly more favorable for Waynesburg, as they have about 2 more ready to come on deck here, but they've got to make sure they stagger these alts out a little bit. They need to find a way to win a couple of these fights in a row.
Jordan on the high ground. Jordan's been so good this game, and they're about to have that blade once more online. Will they be able to meet their marks, especially with the orbital ready to come off? Dashing on in, looking to go for the damage. Not an Ajax, but Slowpoke able to neutralize them. Jordan's going to be the first one to fall, but Gavel looking to close this out. We do see the cleanse coming on in to save their teammates. Gavel having so much to do. So much illusion to Gavel's rifle, but who needs a rifle when you got a sniper? It's Otters on a double. Cthulhu finding a double, and Arcadia keeps marching on.
Now we're going to see Jordan swap here as well to the Cassidy, and they're just looking for something to, you know, find a way to slow Arcadia down. It's been all Arcadia here on Junkertown. Soappoke, Otters, they're doing a nice job, and now we see Otters with that railgun online. Jordan finds a pick onto Cthulhu, though, and with this, an opportunity for them to use that player advantage. Now Waynesburg has that slightly closer spawn, and something that they might be able to utilize here, but Arcadia, again, so many alts to work with. Things could get a little bit more difficult here in the minutes to come.
Arcadia dropped that cleanse way too early. I think that fight was winnable if they didn't drop that cleanse. Unfortunately, they did, and now they're going to be able to make a little bit of a run back onto the spawn, having to regroup. We'll see what they can find. Knife comes out, not able to connect just yet, but instead, they're going to be keeping on the fight. Commanding shout comes in. It's going to be the Ramatra who's going to be looking to be the first target, I believe, but now Cthulhu in the backlines looking to go for an early jump up into the verticality, but Otter's in the backline, already copying the overclock, finish immediately. Jordan's going to be the one to be able to close it out with a double kill, and Arcadia, they dropped a couple ults and found zero success. 3 down. Waynesburg only dropped in 1. They certainly are looking like this could be winnable, but Arcadia needs to be able to find an ultimate one ultimate to be able to find the fight. I don't know whether or not this is possible, Hot Sauce, but they need to do it now if they want to be able to keep a stranglehold over this game.
That's rough. They used 3 ults there to not win that fight. They still got the Kitsune rush, though. Waynesburg has the Deadeye very close here for Jordan, about 95%. So we could see the battle of the ults come out momentarily, but it's Arcadia trying to use the high ground. The high noon pops up, and with that, they're all going to go for safety here. Jordan trying to find something, but unfortunately not going to get any value from the Deadeye.
Look at this play from Arcadia. This is beautiful once more. Their set plays are absolutely immaculate. IRL Catboy going to be dropping in the cleanse, looking to use a lot of their utility. The kit is out, but now it won't matter. Cthulhu finding out the tank. Bluehound as well loses their life. And it seems as if this point may just get capped. Both DPS are down for the count. Looking like a regroup is going to be in the works. But right now, they need to make the touch. They need to do something, but not possible. Waynesburg not able to get onto the point, and Arcadia will close out round 1 with 1:23.
I think maybe a bit of a miscommunication there. They had players that were close. I think they were trying to hold on for the rest of the team to get into position, but they're not able to find a touch in time near the end. They could have maybe even stalled for an additional 10 to 20 seconds. Every little second can go a long way in a series like this, but Arcadia finds a way to get to the final destination here on Junkertown. 1:23 left on the clock. As Cherry J had mentioned, Waynesburg is going to get their opportunity to find some pressure here on the attacking side as well. Can they have similar success? I mean, Arcadia came out swinging right out of the gate in this one.
I mean, I don't want to call it or anything, but 1:23 on a map like this, certainly no simple feat, Hot Sauce. I'm looking forward to seeing whether or not Arcadia will be able to keep this pressure up, or whether or not they might just fall down. Waynesburg looking to go for a blast from the past, moving Quasar back over to the Mercy. Jordan not going for that Hanzo again, but I like to see whether or not they're going to be able to find the same success. And it kind of makes me wonder, what will Quasar's play be here? Do they want to go for a little bit of a pocket onto Jordan, who's going to be in a little bit of a desperate angle a lot of times, where you can't really contest as Mercy? I don't know. I imagine they're going to want to try and build up that Dragon Blade ASAP, as Jordan's being extremely prevalent with it, but we'll see whether or not that is going to be the inevitable play.
See how well it works. I'm a little surprised we haven't seen Jordan back toward the Reaper just yet, but gonna stick with the Genji
they're
for now.
replicating the same play that Arcadia did.
Oh, and Gavs finds the first one. It's Casoto to go down, and without a support, things get exponentially tougher here for Arcadia. But Otter is able to find Quasar. Jordan back onto Cthulhu. It's Plaid Stripes momentarily in the kill feed, but Gavs comes to bring the hammer down. Sopoke on the Bluehound. Back and forth. The game of tug-of-war continues as Gav is still standing strong, but for how long? Junker Queen now in trouble, backing back to safety. Quasar on the res here as well, and Waynesburg trying to muster the strength to power forward.
Yeah, the res is really, really nice from Waynesburg, and we'll see whether or not they're going to be able to make anything else happen. Venture dropping off the high ground. Big blade coming in from Sopoke, but Bluehound able to shut down Casoto again. Jordan, low HP, won't matter. Able to find the kill. Now they want to go for the next. Sopoke's going to be the next to fall, and Jordan going to be having to back out of danger, but IRL Catboy going to be in the fray now. Nowhere to back up as they have nothing in their kits. Jordan finds the double kill, and Waynesburg will be able to march on to the first checkpoint with ease.
Yeah, those last 2 kills came in about 20 seconds after the first 3, so Arcadia certainly staggered out here, and they might just risk it for the biscuit. They drop down in here early. Gav immediately finding Slowpoke, and now it could spell trouble for Arcadia. This is an opportunity for Waynesburg to take advantage of the stagger, and Jordan's on the hunt like a shark in the water. He smells blood, but can he find a way to track him down? He dashes through one, but the heals are there, the support able to stay on their feet, but look at all of the space that Waynesburg is eating up at the moment.
Okay, they're actually going to be able to have a pretty early contest. We do see the commanding shout coming out. Jordan looking to go for a flank. Gavel able to find the first. Casoto's going to be the next to fall. Jordan getting a little bit of healing from the Mercy, going in for the Guardian Angel. And now it's looking really, really good. Waynesburg not stoppable. And instantly, Jordan going in maybe a little bit too aggressive. We'll see. Nope, never mind. They're instantly going to be able to pick up the next kill as Irel Catboy falls to the ground. 3 ultimates about to be available for Arcadia. However, Waynesburg might just be able to secure this point.
That's going to be close. I mean, we can hear some footsteps on the other side, but, you know, they did this last time and they staggered a bit, so they've got to be careful they don't do something similar. The ult is big. It finds 3, and now they look to put a stop to the push from Waynesburg. It's a couple picks, but now it's Waynesburg coming out on top. Gavs, Jordan, and the rest of the crew, you know how we do, as they find all of the picks. Quasar with a res, and Waynesburg will find this checkpoint a little faster. More than 5 minutes on the clock, but can they finish it? This is the important final push.
It's definitely looking like Arcadia has a lot to do if they want to be able to equalize this, but 5 minutes might be too much in the bank to be able to handle. Waynesburg got a couple ults ready and loaded. One being that orbital ray, something they've found so much success with. We'll see what they can make happen with it. On the high ground, Jordan's going to have to be forced out of the deflect. They have that dash if they want to try and go for the engage. We see the speed boost activated. Bluehound backing up. They have that DPS array on and online, but we'll see what they can make happen. Jordan can be really pushed up here, looking to go for a bit of damage. Deflect out, able to find 3 with the dash, but Sopo finds the first. Cthulhu picking up the second. Gavel looking to go for the engage, not able to find anything just yet. Forced into this room, not able to find space. Gavel is able to find 1. Casoto drops to the ground, and we will actually be seeing the tectonic shock activated. So a bit of an extension that wasn't necessary, but Arcadia, they still hold strong. 3 ults in the bank. We'll see what they can find with it.
That's a great stop here. I mean, it was all Waynesburg there for the majority of that one, and they've got 3:50 on the clock, so they just have to play smart. You talked about it. They've got 3 ults. Jordan and Quasar pretty close to their ults as well, so if they play their cards right, find some early picks, look to pressure on, they should be able to solidify it. And now Gav's finding an early pick, but Arcadia, 3 big ones in return, and now they are standing like a brick wall.
Yeah, that was really good from Sopo. Dropping in the Rampage, able to find, I think, like a 4-man ulti, taking them all into the anti-heal. Jordan's going to be able to try and be that shining ray of hope, bringing this back to an equalized position, able to do just that, taking a double kill. Cthulhu shuts him down. However, Arcadia stands strong and is still not able to make anything happen. Waynesburg is completely overwhelming them right now. Quasar's got 97 on the Guardian Angel. Yes, it's kind of a weaker ultimate, but it's still an ultimate nonetheless. Arcadia, they got a couple in the bank, but can they make anything happen? They've been able to drop this bank of time a little bit, but the engagement comes out. Beat is there. Cthulhu finds the first. Bluehound drop. Gavel trying to make anything happen, but it's just not happening. Iro Catboy finds the next. Both DPS on the ground. There's the Guardian Angel dropped in play, but Cthulhu not going to allow this Ramattra to get anything, taking themselves underground, looking to get a little bit of survivability. And now it's Arcadia looking even stronger and making this seem like the time bank will be equalized.
All of a sudden, they find a big stop here, and now the time's getting dangerously close to being equal. So Waynesburg, they've got another opportunity. Quasar will swap back here as well, and so we do see a small change coming in, but is it going to be enough here? Fell dangerously low, already healed back up, and Bluehound trying to find the pressure, but they haven't been able to knock this Arcadia squad off of the high ground here.
Yeah, the high ground has been Arcadia's #1 advantage, the tool that's been helping them. Casoto's the first of fall. Jordan, a little bit of low HP, but they are still standing strong, standing poised to be able to equalize this game and not take any losses in terms of times. They have that Dragon Blade online. Contest on the point, not able to make anything happen just yet. We do see the ultimate coming on in. Low HP, Gavel falls. Now, we're going to be seeing Otters to be the next to drop, taking the overclock offline. Jordan finds a second, looking to make a third. Casoto maybe drops back, but never mind. They keep on trying to apply pressure. Sopoke, the only other player alive, maybe trying to make something happen. Cleanse comes out. The regroup is here. Arcadia's in the fight. 2 DPS ults online. We might be seeing Casoto also able to build towards their own. There's going to be the tectonic shock drops, forcing the rest of the opposing team to back off. Waynesburg forced away. Cleanse in play. Not able to make anything happen, but Jordan's the first one to do it. Finding a double kill, shutting down both supports, taking a DPS with them. And now it's going to be Waynesburg with the regroup of the century, taking the fight win and taking this game by storm, as it's all up to Sopo to make something happen. Not going to do it. Casoto's the last alive. Going to drop the beat, taking even more time off them. Looking to make something happen. There's going to be fun coming on out. We do see the Kiriko looking to ult on in. More players into the fray. We see the Venture making their way on in. Casoto's going to be low. Cthulhu drops down. Casoto's off the board as well. We see Sopo swapping to the ball, desperate to make any type of time, extending their lead, and they will be able to go for the slam. The pile drive comes on in, but as the point marches in, 20 seconds remain.
I mean, they ate up a ton of time off of that clock with that. And so, I mean, Waynesburg was looking to finish ahead of them. Then it was looking like it was going to be equal. Arcadia made a last stand that lasted forever. And so now they've got about an additional minute to work with. Now, luckily for Waynesburg, they had the first half, the first 2 points went really, really fast for them. So they could potentially make up some of that ground. But I would have to say that maybe they're starting to feel a little bit of that pressure, a little bit of that weight on the shoulders now.
A minute is so tragic. They need to make something out of nothing. They're half of what their opponent's time bank looks like. But we know, Hot Sauce, we know this team does not fall down. They do not bend the knee easily. And we'll see whether or not they're going to be able to keep up that pressure. Quasar swapping back over to the Mercy. See what they can find on a pick like this. But Arcadia, they stand strong. They hold true to their composition, not wavering. We'll see what they can find.
Yeah, I mean, again, Sopoke has been phenomenal for him. I think Otters and Cthulhu both have stepped it up in the DPS department. I think Casoto on this Lucio has been a much better fit for them than the Brig, and Catboy certainly filling their role nicely as well. So the Stars finally aligning a bit here for Arcadia, but they have to continue to play strong. We talk about it all the time. Consistency is key, and consistency is king. That's the name of the game, and can they do it? Because they're already in trouble. Cthulhu has to back off. Jordan applying a ton of damage, but Arcadia somehow keeping the members standing only for a moment, and the moment's gone.
Yeah, that was tragic for Arcadia. Waynesburg just did so much damage right off the back, and Arcadia stood there. I don't know what was happening in that regard, but they are actually going to be able to make something happen. Dropping the tank, able to get the resurrection off in the end. Gavel going to be in a pretty good situation, able to try and possibly take down the Sojourn. Evading targets, looking to possibly go in for the supports. Interesting idea, making their way onto Sopo, looking to deal the damage. Lucio's going to be the next target. We do see a bit of speed coming out from Fel, and it is going to lead to this next little bit of utility being dropped in from the side of Arcadia, forcing themselves back, and now we are going to be seeing commanding shout. Sopo able to find the first. We do see Cthulhu coming on back to the engage. Casoto falls down. Quasar falls down. Gavel looking to try and bring back this game into their position, and they'll be able to do just that. Arcadia going to be dropping this team fight, and they are going to be looking to hold this ASAP as long as possible. Bluehound going to be low. Commanding shout comes out, still trying to hold this. Sopo getting the damage. Bluehound, they still don't fall. Somehow, some way, the Capen is alive. No more resurrection available, and Blizzard's gonna be falling. Both supports fall. How on earth did they make this happen? It was a 2v4, and Arcadia holds a miracle in their arms.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, I think it was when Quasar went for the res onto Bluehound, and unfortunately we saw the tank fall shortly after, and I think maybe just not having that heal attached during that time of need. So Arcadia, one heck of a stop. How does Waynesburg prevent them from getting that far? I mean, they've got 2 minutes, and right now it looks like we might just be going to a game number 5.
Hot Sauce, I'm just gonna say it. I think that was the greatest play I've seen all week, and Arcadia looked so good. I don't even know. You can't undersell that. Surviving a 2v4, letting your teammates regroup it's just so nice. Waynesburg, they played so well. Gavel especially did so much for the team. They're able to isolate supports time and time again. And unfortunately, it just was not enough to be able to stop Arcadia. We'll see whether or not I think what I'd want to see them work on, I think target priority is a real thing that Waynesburg is having a little bit of trouble with. And I think beyond that, they've been looking really good. And I just want to this is a hold. This is a hold. I don't know if it's a good one. I personally have never seen it. I want to see this work because it would be funny, but we'll see what happens. Oh my god, it worked because it was funny.
Hey, I mean, it's one of those risk versus reward things, and I think Waynesburg knows that they really can't allow Arcadia to get any pressure out of the gate here. So trying to stop them before it even begins and already eating a little time off the clock. I think that's the important part here, but they have to make sure that they don't lose anybody by overextending. And what with these ults now getting close again, I mean, it's going to be tough once Arcadia gets them online.
Yeah, Sopo going to be walking straight on into the fire of the opposing side. Fell's going to drop Jordan as well. Now there's two people in the spawn room. And we actually are going to be seeing a lot more. Otter's on a 3K. Otter's is looking so good. Gavel's going to be the next fall, getting staggered up for the rest of the team. And unfortunately, Gavel got a good spawn. All right, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Waynesburg having that great spawn priority. Arcadia not able to get the stagger. We'll see whether or not a minute is going to be enough time to be able to find this point, but there is going to be a couple players ready and loaded for this retake. We'll see what is going to be able to happen though.
Yeah, 50 seconds on the clock, and they got to get up there relatively soon. They've got to be careful. We saw it last time. They weren't able to get there in time. Not the case here, as we will see them find a way to pressure in, but they've got to be careful. Gav is dangerously low. Bluehole falls immediately, but Gav able to find Casoto. A support down. Jordan gets so poked. There's no tank here for Arcadia. Waynesburg has an opportunity. They look to push back. The annihilation is here now for Gavs as well, and this might just be what they need.
Yeah, Gav's having to dance around this Sojourn, not able to make it happen in time with a minute, and the minute dropping quickly. There's going to be the annihilation coming on out. They want to try and make something happen. Quasar's going to be dropping in the Confetti Rush because Soto finds the first. Blue Hound's going to be the first one to fall. Gavel down to 100 HP, but they are able to find the Cthulhu on the flank. They keep on going in. Sopo low HP. Gavel 2 kills from the annihilation. They want to make something happen. Honors dropping the overclock, shutting down Gavel. There's Spell as well, but oh my god, it's an insane ultimate from Jordan, able to shut down Honors, and now it's just gonna be Sopo, just gonna be Casoto, looking to make something happen. Jordan going for the flank onto the high ground, not gonna be able to make anything happen off there, dropping down immediately, going for the side of the building, looking to make some kind of play, but we do see Sopo trying to isolate the kill. Able to get Casoto, traded out, Blue Hound's down, now it's all up to Jordan, half HP, they still have the Wraith if they need it, and they are going to be dropping it in, looking to get the refresh on the guns, making something happen. Sopo looking to fall. Lens comes out from Iron Catholic, but it's not enough, and Waynesburg University shuts down Arcadia for a 3-1 victory.
Oh my, what did we just witness? They had double the time, a minute left with only meters to go, and the whole crew from Waynesburg comes up big. You talk about a stop. That was absolutely insane.
Oh my god, hot sauce. That's not okay. That was absurd behavior. And I'm gonna give my MVP award out right now for the side of Waynesburg. How on earth did Jordan survive all that onslaught? An absolute absurdity.
I mean, it's tough to give it to one person, but I think you're right. I mean, everybody played so well. Gav's had so many great moments. The support's keeping him alive, but Jordan dancing around that payload for who knows the amount of time and just flirting with disaster, teetering on the edge of death. Waynesburg University finds a way to jack it up one more time. What a heck of a series, though. I mean, we have to tip our hats to Arcadia. They came out here and helped put on one heck of a cinema for everybody watching. So Arcadia, hold your heads high. You put up a solid fight. It made it a really fun series to watch, but at the end of the day, we have to give the big GGs over to Waynesburg and the Yellow Jackets.
I think, speaking of Arcadia, let's just say it. Sopoke did a lot. Sopoke made so many plays for this team. They would not have hold that great position on that first point at the end there if it wasn't for the Junker Queen of Arcadia. Um, I mean, that's what happens though, right? That's what happens when you have a tank coming from a team that has done so much. And I just think that this one player alone has just proven time and time again that they're the best, whether or not it's coming second place in the PIEA, whether or not it's coming to Arcadia being the captain of this roster. And I think every match, I think overall, Hot Sauce, please correct me if I'm wrong, but would you call them the MVP of tonight? Because I definitely would.
So
Would you call Sopoke the MVP of tonight?
I wouldn't
Or
say
would you not?
overall. It's tough. I
Really?
mean,
Who would be
yeah,
your overall MVP for tonight?
I think you have to, give it to Jordan or Gavs, one of these two players that made this final stand here when the overtime fuse is lit. I mean, Jordan was there with no health, pulled the Death Blossom, found a kill. It was a 3v1 at some point. He fades out. The support comes in to help. So, I think Sopoke is certainly an honorary mention right behind him, but I think Arcadia just got it a little too late. I mean, we saw Casoto on the Lucio, I think with Catboy together. I think that was a much better fit for the squad. Otters had a crazy, I think, triple or quadra there at the end as well. Arcadia certainly has a ton of talent, but it was Waynesburg that got the dub tonight, and it was off the back of that crazy play combined with both Gavs, Jordan, and the support there. So, I would still have to give it to the Yellow Jackets over here. But again, honestly, I'm absolutely thrilled with how well Arcadia played. It was looking grim in the beginning. They didn't let that bother them. They didn't let it affect the mental. They had that never say never style attitude. They continued to fight back. And I think that's what you absolutely love to see in a roster, regardless of where you're from. So again, I tip my hat to him, but I would still have to give that MVP over toward probably Jordan or Gavs.
Yeah. I definitely think Jordan provided a ton of value to the roster. I think their Reaper looked really good. Overall, they were so flexible, whether or not it was the Reaper, whether or not it was the Genji. Their Hanzo looked a little bit iffy, and they kind of realized that and swapped off it immediately. So I just generally think they did prove a lot today. I think that I do agree that Death Blossom was a really nice play, and it kind of did provide them with that little bit of extra oomph they needed to get over the line and take that map away to be able to bring it to a 3-1 victory. I don't think
I still can't
I don't
believe
even
it.
mean this to glaze Waynesburg, but I think if this did go map 5, there's no way Arcadia wins. I think that their map 4 was a big fluke. I would have liked to see Cthulhu back on the May. I think they proved a lot on that, and I don't really know why they swapped it off, but I mean, I don't know. I think that Arcadia proved a lot today. Waynesburg just did so much more in every way, shape, or form. Their supports looked better, their tank looked better, their DPS looked better. All throughout the game, they were just the better team. And for the most part, you kind of got to glaze them a little bit for that. Waynesburg really just putting out all the stops. You got anything to finish off, though, or what do we think?
I mean, I gotta say, I think Arcadia played. I mean, they dominated in push. They dominated in the first half of that last map. So I think we still got to give them credit. But what you're right, Waynesburg was just a little better here on the night. But honestly, it's always a great time to be in the booth with you casting. I think it's it's fun that we get to showcase all the wonderful talent that we have in collegiate esports. And again, I think that's the important thing is highlighting all the wonderful talent and just making sure everybody has a ton of fun. So I think that's the big important thing here. And again, as always, though, before we get going here tonight, we do need to take a moment to thank everybody here behind the scenes at TEC, including our main man, our eye in the sky, Nick, for not only producing the show, but for doing all the wonderful observing as well. And of course, we definitely appreciate all the schools, the competitors, and everybody hanging out with us in chat for showing up and showing that support. So again, thanks guys for kicking it with us. Make sure you hit that follow button, click the notification gang, follow us on the socials as well, so you can stay up to date with all the amazing stuff we got going on over here at the eSport Company. With the digital legend to my right here, Cherry J. My name is Hot Sauce. You guys have been beautiful. Take care and enjoy the rest of your night.
I have an open invitation, but you're telling me go get lost. I don't wanna see your face. Yeah, what the hell? So why don't we stay out to the morning light? 'Cause 2 wrongs can make a right. We're just doing what we feeling right now. Some Chardonnay, we camp in the parking lot. Leave traces of plastic cups. We're just doing what we feeling right now. So what the hell? Why you hanging? take you